Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy election day. So today I wanted to talk about schedules and having a good schedule and give you some ideas on things you can do. And over many years, decades of being in real estate and talking with realtors and seeing successful realtors, there is kind of a flow that happens with successful agents. And I've heard this from many different coaches like Tom Ferry and Brian Buffini and Mike Ferry and Jared James. And I've heard this, in several different classes that have taken over almost 30 years in real estate. So I kind of wanted to give, because some agents just don't know like what they should do and they kind of pick pieces apart. So I last night wrote some notes down of some things to think about what successful agents do when you're full-time. I'm going to go a full-time schedule, but then I'm going to give you an idea of a part-time schedule too, because there's several agents. I think 80% of realtors are part-time, or we'll just put it that way. 80% of realtors do this in a fashion where there's not full-time income, but they might have other things going on in their life. And as a broker and an owner, I say this all the time. There's some great part-time agents. They're great. Their customers are happy. They only want a certain number of buyers. They might want 4 or 5 or 6 a year, and that's it. And sellers, they don't want to overload themselves. It's completely fine. So anybody watching this, if you are a part-time agent and for some reason there's someone or people out there that make you feel like you are not as good as someone that's full-time or someone's numbers, I always think of McDonald's. Do you want, and numbers don't always make it better. It's quality service. And I always say this, and I'm sorry I'm going off topic of the schedule, but I say this to agents every day, is when you walk into a fancy restaurant and there's only like 4 tables there, do you go in there and go, wow, this is a part-time restaurant. I don't want to eat here. They only serve, 10, 12, 20 people total at a time, reservations only, no walk-ins. And so that's how I know there's a lot of great agents out there that do referrals only. They don't take any leads that they don't know or be referred to them. And they only handle amount of clients that they want to give 100% attention to. And that is a good business model, and it's a good realtor that is doing good service. So I'm starting that off with the schedule. So this schedule that I'm giving you is just to give you an idea of what you should be doing and things that you should be concentrating on. So part of my notes I wrote here is that number one, remember, if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. Unless you're reacting to people calling you in current transactions or new leads calling you or referrals calling you to start up a new business, if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. So if you do get those calls between things that you're doing and things you have to take care of, always make sure that you decide if you're going to do it at that time, if it's urgent, or something you could do later. So you always, one thing to think about, there's always some time in the late afternoon, early evening before showings that you can do things when people call you. When a buyer or seller call you, we have great technology. I teach agents this all the time. You have a text message. Text them back, say, sorry, you're with a client or on the phone. You can set up automatic texts or responses and say, I will get back to you soon, or get back to you this afternoon, or go whatever. So I have those, and if a lot of agents get those, when I'm on the phone and I have my appointments that I have to do for the day, I get a lot of texts, I get a lot of calls. I always hit that reply button, say, I'll call you later. And I ask them usually what is the meaning of their call or their text, so I know if I should need to get off the phone, if it's an emergency or something, or just something we could deal with later. So you got to delegate time. You always can't, because when you're a busy agent, you're never going to get the things you want to get done with all the people calling you, the lender calling you, the title company calling you, the other agent calling you, the inspector, everything. Everything's happening, and you could spend your whole day working on 2 or 3 transactions and not get anything out, and just maintenance of things that are happening. So remember that. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. So here's an idea of schedule. In the morning, most successful agents have their own time in the morning, their time to meditate, pray, exercise, something where they're getting their day ready. You're not jumping up. And a lot of us look at to see what our email is and what's going on. I do that myself too, but I spend maybe 20 minutes, half hour tops on plowing through my emails, leaving the ones that I have to respond to, deleting the ones that I don't need to respond to, and organizing my email. I do that. I don't suggest doing that, but I do and that. And then do your routine. I exercise in the morning. I have my morning routine. My family knows this. It's kind of like Tony's in his morning routine. Don't talk to Tony right now. So sorry, I didn't have my phone off there. And then you're getting ready for your day, and say, I'm just giving you an example, 5 to 8 or 6 to 9 or 6 to 8. There's time for you. But of course, if you have family, children, things that you have to get done, of course, you got to fill in that time too. But you might want to get up earlier to have time for yourself, because if you're not mentally prepared for the day, it's hard. The days never go smoothly if you don't have a smooth start of the day. Secondly is between 9 and 11, that's when you should be doing your prospecting, your follow-up with your database. I know it's hard. And so one thing agents have a hard time with is that the morning they go like, I'm going to bug people. They're going to be upset with me if I call that early. They're going to get, wondering why I'm at. So I like it that morning, 9 to 11, because usually people are at work or doing other things. If they pick up the phone with your call, that is a great, great lead. So from making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls every week for decades, the percentage is about 20 to 30% pick up the phone. It's just a numbers game. So out of every 10 calls, maybe 3 will pick up the phone. So I love voicemails. I love voicemails. So voicemails are great. It gives you a opportunity to do a little commercial about yourself and not bother the people if they didn't want to. In today's day and age, everybody knows who's calling. So number one, you shouldn't be scared of calling people between 9 and 11, because if they pick up the phone, they want to talk to you. They know how easy it is to go dink and click and go right to voicemail. So if they pick up the phone, they're interested in talking with you. This is not, remember, I don't know, I'm not going to date myself, being 50 years old. I'm going to date myself and explain this is not the time when you used to call people's houses and they not have caller ID, and they used to pick up the phone not knowing who's on the phone. People don't do that anymore. They know who's on the phone. So never be scared of calling anybody, because they know who's calling them, and if they pick up, they want to talk to you. So that's that. Then voicemail, leave a great voicemail, set up about referrals, how you want to help people and be their trusted advisor. Great thing. So 9 to 11 should be your prospecting time, in that range. Around 11, I say 11 to 11:30, 11 to 12, you should be checking on the market. The hot sheets of what new listings have came on, what's happening in your market, what's happening in your farm area, just what's happening. Some agents spend all day on there. They just just checking things out. So you should definitely be seeing what's going on in your market and how much time you want to spend. Around noon, of course, lunchtime, get some lunch, eat something, something that's not going to get you tired, and keep going. Now the afternoon, this is a couple different ideas for the afternoon of where you should be. So afternoon is could be previewing houses. I will explain to you that if you are working expired listings, if you are ever, there's not that many in our market today, but I'm going to give you a little secret. Ready for the secret? You can write this down. Is that you, as an agent, are allowed to preview houses. You might, if you have buyers or leads, you let the other agent know it's a preview and you're going into these houses. So you're previewing, you want to know your market, you want to go into these houses. So if you have the time, preview all the new listings in your market. We used to do this 20 some years ago, before the internet, before everything. We used to go on tour, on Tuesday tour. Some of you might still do it in the offices you are. We used to do that, and I tell agents this all the time, because we had to see the houses, because we didn't have an internet with 50 pictures and a video to show us what the house looked like. So if anybody wanted to know what what houses. You had to be an up-to-date agent to know and be in every one of those houses that are in the market, so you could explain to people, and it saves you time and energy of showing them all of the houses. So you should be previewing all of the houses out there if you have the time, knowing your market. Also, just imagine you're keeping that information of houses you've previewed for potential buyers, and then that house is expired soon in 3 months, 6 months, whenever the listing expired. You've been in that house. Now, if you're calling on that house for the listing because it's expired, and there's 20 other realtors calling, I guarantee you're one of the top people. If you say, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I've been in your house. I saw your house, 4 months ago. I thought it was a beautiful house. I think, we could explain, I would like to come over, explain my marketing, whatever. But if you say you've been in their house and may have had potential buyers, but didn't have any buyers in this price range, or for whatever reason you didn't have the buyers to buy their house, you have a leg up on the people. So again, going off topic of the schedule. So know your market, have lunch. Now the next is previewing houses, door knocking, following up with buyers, making sure your appointments, usually you're making appointments in the evening, maybe in the afternoon you're doing virtual showings. I really push that. If you're a full-time agent and you have time in the afternoon, try to push your buyers to do virtual showings. You're out there at 2 o'clock when everybody's trying to book 6 to 10 o'clock. You're doing it at 2 o'clock on FaceTime, Zoom, something, walking around the house, and you could usually book more time, not just 15 minutes or 30 minutes. You could book 45 minutes and walk around the house on that. Also, let the other agent know that you're going there to do a virtual appointment, and be doing that because there are some, just let you know, you can't record or take pictures of someone's house without their permission. I see it all the time. If any of our agents are listening to this, do not take pictures of other people's houses without their permission. So you could ask that. So if you're videoing, it's not, as long as you're not recording it. But I say save yourself the trouble and just let the other listing agent know, just, hey, by the way, just want to make sure it's okay. I'm going to be doing a virtual showing, and they're going to be on FaceTime or something like that. All of that. Or if you're doing a video and going to send it to someone, you should ask the other agent on that, because the listing pictures are approved by the seller. Technically, should be approved by the seller. A lot of agents just take them, put them on. Sellers just go with it, but they are approved. So just a note to that. So afternoon, preview houses, door knocking, following up with buyers, making appointments for the evening. Then the evening, again, this is why it's a long day. Then you're showing houses 6 to 9, 6 to 10. And then I get those emails, I get those texts at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, because that's when you're writing up your offers for the people you showed houses to that day. You're in your home office, you're doing them on .loop, or you're doing them on your computer, and you're getting them out to your buyers. That's normally a normal kind of daily schedule. Again, it's starting at 9, ending at it's 12-hour plus day in real estate. If you're busy, anybody watching this and you're busy and you're selling houses like 12 hours, I wish I only had 12 hours. Okay, I could work just 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. or 10 to 10. You turn into 13, 14, 15-hour days. It does. I know that. I've been there. I've seen it. I'm there every day myself, helping agents every day from the minute I get up to the minute I go to sleep. So I know what's going on out there, and have for many, many years. So for the part-time agents, if you have a 9-to-5 job, you got to condense that all. If you have a 9-to-5 job, great. If you even better, if you can move that, the agents that I have, great part-time agents that are working 7 to 3 or 6 to 2 or somewhere in that range there, even better. Then you have that window soon as you're out of work, before you start showing houses. Book that time, an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours of prospecting, calling your sphere, getting getting in touch with them, your database, and following up with people. You just have to condense it right before showing. So don't start showings at 5 o'clock. If you get off at 5, like right from work, right to showings. Put a little buffer in there for some prospecting in there, and then everything else is the same. I mean, you all know this is that you're showing houses till 8, 9 o'clock at night or later, and then you're going back to your home office writing these offers. I really push you to learn the technology to do it in front of the buyers while you're there, and not go home and work on it for 2 hours. Is that if you have a buyer, you know you're going to write an offer, you could do it on a tablet, you do it on a laptop. If depending upon the schedules of the showings, you could ask the listing agent, hey, I'm scheduled to say this, you might be writing offer. Just let the other agent know, hey, I'm going to be there. Do you mind if we stay there? I mean, it's an hour window or 45 minutes. We're going to be there. Keep me updated if there's another showing right after me, because we might be there to write up an offer and on my tablet or whatever. And just let them know so they could let you know, go, great, write up the offer there. Or no, my seller needs to come home, just in case you go over a minute, or there's another showing right after you. Make sure you're out of there before that. So it keeps you updated, keep them updated on what's going on. And if they're writing an offer, they should be happy with that. And then, of course, with our technology and the maps and the Yelp and the things, you could find something close to there, so you don't have to go all the way home to write up an offer. I see many agents do that. There's a lot of wasted time, and you go back and forth with buyers on that. And you could write there. They could write the offer with you right in front of them. Also, my opinion is usually buyers want to get home. They want to get things. So they'll have their main questions and go through it, but they won't keep you for 2 hours. But when they're comfortable at home, and you probably have gone through this, when they're comfortable at home and they're sitting on the phone watching TV, and then you're going over the offer, they'll take 3 hours of your time asking more questions. I mean, of course, you want to answer their questions, but they're not as quick, because you might have another offer to write on another client, and you don't want to cut them short. So get them while they're there. Just example, like when you go buy a car. When you go buy a car, how many of us want to get out of that car dealership as soon as possible? Like sign. What are the terms? What are the this? I'll ask you questions when I get home, but I want you to get the deal done. Do they ever, when you buy a car, do they ever let you go home, think about it, and then you call them up and then they write up and email it to you? No, while you're there, they sell you the car. They don't let you get out. They go right there. You can do something similar in the house if you need to keep your time, and explain to your clients that, hey, if you want to write an offer tonight, I have an hour. We'll walk through the house again, or a second showing, or we'll go through it. I got to be out of there by 8 o'clock. I have another client at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and keep your clients on a timeline if you need to do that. If you keep it all open, they'll keep you all night sometime. So that's some ideas on the time schedule, the things that you could think about to keep a great time schedule, but have a schedule. If you don't have something in your calendar of what you want to accomplish for the day and the times you want to do it, you won't get things done. It's like when you go on a vacation, you write a list of all the things you have to do. When you have to leave the house, what you got to do. You have to stop the mail. You have to do this. What time, if your flight leaves at this time, you got to leave the house by this time. You got to, do this with the kids, or do this. You have a whole list of things that you have to accomplish. You got to pack this, all the things you got to do. Think of like your work day as a vacation day. All the things you got to do to have a productive day. Make sure you're not missing anything. That's kind of the feeling that you should have for your daily schedule too. So that's it. But hey, I'm always here as a resource. Feel free to call me, text me. I'll set up time aside, 15, 20 minutes. We'll go over ideas on your schedule. You can tell me what's going on in your life and your work or family time, and how we should organize that on a day-to-day basis to help you be as efficient and successful, and have a successful day every work day. So that's it. Have a wonderful Tuesday, election day, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11. Bye-bye.